You think you're making your own decisions? You believe your thoughts, your beliefs, your choices are your own. But what if they aren't? What if someone else, someone more powerful, more persuasive, more strategic, has been shaping your reality all along, without you even realizing it? This is the dark psychology of leadership, the hidden forces that powerful people use to control, manipulate, and influence the masses. It's not just about persuasion. It's about subtle psychological tactics that can make people obey, follow, and even defend leaders who act against their best interests. Some of the most powerful figures in history, from politicians to CEOs to cult leaders, have mastered these techniques. And once you understand them, you'll start seeing them everywhere. The first tactic is authority bias. People are naturally wired to trust and obey those who appear powerful. The simple act of wearing a uniform, having a title, or even speaking with confidence is enough to make most people assume someone is right, even when they aren't. Studies have shown that when an authority figure gives an order, people will follow, even if it means harming others. This is why corrupt leaders don't need to force obedience. They simply need to look the part, and people will comply. The second tactic is fear-based control. The most effective leaders know that fear is a stronger motivator than hope. They don't just present solutions, they create problems. Problems that make people feel vulnerable, afraid, and desperate for protection. They manufacture crises, exaggerate threats, and convince their followers that only they can provide safety. Fear keeps people emotionally dependent, making them cling to leadership as if their survival depends on it. Because when people are afraid, they don't think critically. They just obey. The third tactic is the illusion of choice. True manipulation doesn't come from forcing people to do something. It comes from making them think they have a choice while secretly guiding them to the right decision. Skilled leaders present 2 or 3 options, making one seem far more appealing than the rest. The public believes they are choosing freely, but in reality they are being steered toward a predetermined outcome. This happens in politics, in business, in marketing. Everywhere decisions are made. The fourth tactic is charismatic hypnosis. The best leaders don't just communicate, they entrance. They use powerful rhetoric, emotional storytelling, and repetition to create an almost hypnotic effect. When people hear the same ideas over and over, their brains start accepting them as truth, even if they are completely false. Charismatic leaders use emotional highs and lows, dramatic pauses, and rhythmic speech patterns to put their audience into a trance-like state. Once inside that trance, their followers become deeply loyal, sometimes even willing to sacrifice everything for them. The fifth tactic is group psychology. Leaders know that people are far more obedient in groups than they are alone. The larger the crowd, the more individuals lose their ability to think independently. A leader can make a crowd laugh, cry, chant, or even riot, simply by controlling the energy of the group. When people are surrounded by others who all believe the same thing, they stop questioning. They stop resisting. They conform because standing alone feels too dangerous. The sixth tactic is scapegoating. When leaders need to unite their followers, they don't do it by promoting peace. They do it by creating an enemy, a common villain that everyone can rally against. It could be an opposing political party, an outside threat, or even an entire group of people. The more hatred and division they create, the more loyalty they gain. Because when people are distracted by a common enemy, they stop questioning their own leader's actions. The seventh tactic is reciprocity manipulation. Powerful leaders don't just take control, they make you feel indebted to them. They offer small favors, present themselves as protectors, and create a sense of gratitude that makes it harder to resist them. Once someone feels like they owe their leader something, they become far more obedient, far more willing to overlook red flags. The most dangerous leaders don't force their followers into submission. They make them feel like they want to serve. The eighth tactic is isolation and dependency. The strongest leaders ensure that their followers need them. They break trust in outside sources, calling the media, the opposition, or experts liars and deceivers. They create an environment where followers only trust them and no one else. This is how cult leaders gain absolute control. Once people stop listening to alternative viewpoints, once they believe their leader is the only one who tells the truth, they become completely trapped. The ninth tactic is moving the goalposts. Manipulative leaders never allow their followers to feel fully satisfied. The goal is always changing. The mission is never quite complete. There's always one more crisis, one more enemy, one more sacrifice that needs to be made. This keeps people forever striving, forever loyal, forever too busy to stop and question whether they are being used. The 10th and final tactic is creating a personal myth. The most powerful leaders don't just have followers, they have believers. They craft a legend around themselves, making their life story sound larger than life. They exaggerate their struggles, present themselves as underdogs, and claim they alone can change the world. People don't just see them as a leader, they see them as a symbol, something greater than reality. And once that myth is in place, even their failures, their lies, their corruption won't shake their followers' loyalty. Because at that point, the leader isn't just a person anymore. They are an idea. Once you recognize these tactics, you will see them everywhere. You will notice how politicians use fear to gain power, how cult leaders use isolation to control minds, how corporations use authority bias to sell products, how charismatic figures use repetition and storytelling to build loyalty, how the world around you is shaped by psychological manipulation at every level. But knowledge is power. The moment you see the manipulation, the spell begins to break. The moment you question authority, fear loses its grip. The moment you reclaim your ability to think independently, you become immune to their control. Because the most powerful thing any leader fears is a follower who is no longer afraid to question them. Now that you know the dark psychology of leadership, the real question is, what other invisible forces are shaping your decisions without you realizing it? Are you ready to uncover the next one?